Listen, y'all, this High Time Reviews is back with another one. We doing BMF Season 2, Episode 4, Running on E. So we open the episode basically picking right up where we left off last week. So basically, Meech is in surgery from the gunshots. Lamar is basically still trying to finish the job. And Terry is basically trying to get Meech out of harm's way. So as the episode come on, you got Meech in surgery. Charles, Lucille, Nikki, and Meech baby mother all in the lobby of the hospital, basically, you know, just a little frantic because they just want to make sure they hear something back from the doctor about what's going on with Meech. So as that's going on, you see Darnell Rawlins' character basically prepping Lamar to sneak him into the hospital that Meech is in so that he can finish the job. So after Meech gets out of surgery, you know, he's basically in his room and he ends up waking up, and Terry basically come in and he's like, listen, let's get you the fuck out of here because it's likely that Lamar's gonna try to finish the job. So he snatched Meech out the room, he get him out of there. Basically Meech half dead and they basically probably still bleeding, still got tubes connected to him. They basically running him out of there. Lamar busts up in the room, Meech is not there. Then you see Meech, Terry, and Roland in the car. Basically, you know, Roland is thanking Meech for taking the shots for him. And Meech like, look, honestly, the shots wasn't meant for you. So at the end of the day, you know, it was what it was. So you got the next scene, they basically pull up to Meech baby mother house and they basically carry Meech in the house and the baby mother's losing her shit.
He's still bleeding, he needs to be in a hospital. Well, that's way too dangerous, Lloyd. I'd be hurt out here and dead out there.
She like, you know, this is dangerous as shit. What about my mother? What about our daughter? How is this going, you know, how is this going to keep us safe? So he's like telling her like, baby girl, there's no need for you to fucking overreact. Lamar don't even know you, so you can relax. So he basically ends up sending her into the other room basically to check on the kids or whatever. In this moment, you get this war between the family because Terry starts putting his input on the family business and B. Mickey gets in his feelings because in his mind, he's like, Meech just promoted me. So why would I literally sit here and listen to what Terry got to say when Terry's not even part of the business? And everybody throws out their idea. B. Mickey's idea gets shut down because from Jump Street, his plug was never real. You got Terry basically saying they should go to Big L, not knowing Big L is dead because fucking Meech, fucking right-hand man K9
right, and if you need more weight, I can hit a Big L.
Big L dead, T. K9 off there.
And then they can't go back to K9 because they didn't bring back the guy to K9 alive. So at the end of the day, they don't have that connect either. So Meech recommends that they go to Pat and basically try to link back up with Pat, knowing that Pat probably don't fuck with them after the way he did them last time. And then on top of that, you know Pat be getting high. So is that even somebody that you really want to work with? Probably not. On the next scene, you basically got Terry running to Markeisha's job to basically let her know what happened and basically try to devise a plan to meet up with Boom, which is her baby father, and her husband, to have a sit down to see if he can get some keys off of him to float them. So, of course, he ends up offending Lala because she thinks that he basically been coming in there flirting with her, listening to all of her concerns and feeling her out because he wanted to get into the business with her husband. When I don't think that was Terry's intention. I think Terry genuinely liked the chick, but at the end of the day, he knows she's married, so he can only play it, but so close. So what she ends up saying is she's like, basically, look, I'm not going to set you up a meeting with my husband, but what I will do is I will put y'all two in the same room. So I'll let y'all two figure that out once y'all in the same room. She's saying that she don't think it's good for her to mix the two because she's like, look, even if I did care about you, I don't think it's good to mix you and my husband together. The next thing you got Jen and Brian basically at the police station. And mind you, this is after Meech get out the hospital. So they bring Meech to the police station thinking that by having Lamar already there in the interrogation room, that 9 times out of 10, Meech is going to literally stand in there and say, oh yeah, this is the guy who shot me, so go ahead.
I called him in to fill in the blanks on Lamar.
Well, you know he ain't go snitch and say who shot.
These are street niggas at the end of the day. Even if that was the case, you bring them both in there, they not going to say nothing. Just like what happened in the scene. You got Meech coming in talking shit to Lamar. Lamar feeling away because he's handcuffed and Meech isn't. But again, I don't even know how they were able to capture Lamar because in the original scene with the shooting, the cops never went after Lamar. They went straight after Meech and Terry and them. So I don't understand how they came up with the concept of it being Lamar. Jen basically places a bet with Brian and she's like, look, I'll let you drive, basically, if it don't go the way I expect it to go. But the only thing about it is she want him to stop smoking around her. Like, but Brian not about to do that because Brian do what the fuck he want at the end of the day. So, basically, when the two of them meet face to face, basically, like I said, they end up throwing jabs at each other. And Meech basically like, I'm not about to snitch, but he said, I'm gonna handle my shit the way I handle my shit. So he ends up leaving. Lamar's still there. He starts singing. I feel like anytime Lamar starts singing, y'all should be worried for real. So Jen tells Brian, like,
just for that, you're gonna have to pull the plug on Frankie Beverly in there.
at the end of the day, this whole shit is your fault. So you need to take care of this whole shit with Lamar because you're one of the main reasons why he's still alive. Next thing you got Terry basically showing back up at the house after everything for us, like after taking Meech to his baby mother house, after making sure everything is good with him, after the hospital, making sure Lamar didn't get him, okay? So he busts up in the house. Charles and Lucille basically there in the living room waiting. So in my mind, they probably just waiting to make sure all the kids that live in their house are safe before they actually go to sleep. So Charles basically tries to get Terry to admit that this whole thing had something to do with the actual drug game. Terry is just like, look, I'm just trying to handle things the way Dad would. So at the end of the day, I'm about to go out here, get dressed, collect a couple extra fares, try to make up some of the money we missed on Devil's Night, aka Halloween, because if you remember, niggas was slashing their tires all up and through last week. So at the end of the day, they couldn't really make any money. So LaWanda go upstairs. Of course, LaWanda, even though she's back, she's still trying to act like she don't know what's up and that she's not about to try to benefit from anything that's happening in this family as far as like the drug game. LaWanda, stop doing what you're doing because you're going to benefit. Your kids are going to benefit. Give it a rest. So in the next scene, you basically got Lamar running into this nurse that he used to smash back in the day. I'm guessing this is from the first season prior to him coming on the scene of the actual show. Because if you recall, he said he was in a nut house. So this nurse must be from the nut house. So he go to her house, you know. He basically trying to get a little quickie in real quick and his shit don't work. Basically, like she's like doing any and everything to get him turned on and nothing is working. So eventually he ends up getting in his feelings with her and basically storming out because his shit don't work. As if she's in the wrong. She straight told him, like, I think you should just come back once you're fully healed and then maybe we can get this done, you feel me? But right now, your shit don't work. So in the next scene, you basically got Terry going into this place called Merch Cafe, and I guess this is basically the setup for how he's gonna run into Boom and basically initiate the conversation between them two. In that meeting, you see Boom, when he first initially see Terry, he basically laughed at Terry because Terry is dressed in his work stuff. So he basically end up joking Terry, he like, who died, you know, this, that, and the third. So they end up talking business. It comes to the point where they agree on terms, but they just don't get as much cool from Boom as they would from K9. So basically, instead of getting the 10 keys, they get the 5 keys. I mean, listen, at this point, when you have no keys, I'm sure that 5 keys is just enough. So, in the middle of them having a conversation, you know, Boom actually sends Markeisha to grab him a drink, you know, while, because I guess it's like, you know how back in the day it was like, motherfucking men talking, girl, go ahead and get out of here, you feel me? So he smacks her on the ass, sends her about her way. And, you know, that triggers Terry because on the way out, Terry basically whispers to her at the bar. He tells her, like, my wife, I wouldn't treat you like no glorified servant. And honestly, here's my thing. Terry better chill because if he think that people aren't catching how he interacts with Markeisha, he's crazy. You keep showing up to her fucking job. Everybody at work there said you literally go into a meeting with her husband and then you side talk the husband less than 100 feet away from him. Like, Terry, you just go places stirring beef for real, just like the shit with the pamphlets for real. So in the next scene, we got another church scene. And honestly, in my opinion, at this rate, with this season, church scenes could only go one way, left. Mainly because of Charles. So you got Charles sitting up there in the pulpit with the fucking guitarist bitch that he was basically dancing on with last week and this, that, and the third. And then the pastor come up and he basically tries to get the congregation to, you know, to pray for Charles and Lucille because Meech got shot. So in the midst of all of that, half of the congregation start walking out and basically acting like they too good to pray for Meech. So Lucille basically stands up and she basically tells them,
Oh, y'all think y'all can do better?
Lucille?
You know, when your husband paid for that prostitute, I still prayed for your marriage. And when your daughter got caught drunk driving, I prayed that the chains of addiction would be broken.
She basically tells the one mother, like, I prayed for your daughter when she had a drinking problem. I prayed for all of y'all. So at the end of the day, for y'all to act like I shouldn't want to see my kids alive just because of what they've done is crazy. And I would never wish that on none of y'all. So at the end of the day, you know, God loves the wicked as much as everybody else. So if y'all walk out, y'all basically saying, I don't get to see my kids alive. Charles basically tried to tell Lucille to sit down and calm down. And in my mind, I'm like, Charles, that's your fucking son too. But you too busy sitting up there with the goddamn guitarist lady trying to be cute. So after Lucille had her whole fucking breakdown, she straight walk up on Charles. And Charles basically like, look, I'm gonna give you the keys. You can go head home. And I'm gonna get a ride home, you know, so that Lucille can go head home. Because like I said, she all flustered and shit. She basically almost somewhat embarrassed herself in front of the whole church. So like I said, Charles is slightly embarrassed. So as Lucille leaves out, you got the guitarist lady who basically can't wait to shoot her shot every chance she gets. So she walks up on Charles and she basically tells Charles, like, don't worry, the kids will appreciate you one day. You the best thing that they could have had in a parent. This, that, and the third. She gets the rest of her hand on Charles' chest. And in my mind, I'm just thinking like, yo, where's Lucille? Like, where's Lucille? And sure enough, Lucille ass roll up and she basically like,
It's time to go.
okay, Charles, I think it's time to go. Good, get Charles' ass, because honestly, between Mabel and her dancing ass and then this guitarist lady, Charles ain't gonna do nothing but get caught up. So I think he just need to relax and try to figure out how to fix his family versus stepping out here trying to do anything but that. On the next scene, you got Meech and Roland basically going to go check on Monique, because at the end of the day, he got to secure all his family. So even if him and Monique ain't really together, or him and the other baby mother not together, he got to still make sure that they're taken care of, because they both have kids of his. So at the end of the day, Monique like, I ain't really worried about Lamar, because at the end of the day, if I got to, I'll blast him myself. So she opened a little drawer. She got a little piece in there. But all Meech sees is the coke, you feel me? So Meech grabbed the coke out the drawer and he basically asked her, so like, this what we doing now? You feel me? You need to be, basically, you need all your faculties to basically make sure that our kids is good. You want to be using the coke. He like, I think what you need to do is take the kids to your mother's house and calm your ass down and stay away from shit you can't handle, because with all the coke and the anxiety, it's not a good move. So at the end of the day, Monique asked me to calm down. So basically, she ended up kicking Meek out. But at the end of the day, like I said, Meek ain't doing nothing but trying to protect his family. So Brian and Jen basically end up stalking Terry at the shop for like 3 days. Like, they end up seeing him and Denise. They end up seeing him and B. Mickey. And they end up seeing like Terry and Denise after they devised their whole plan. Jen don't believe Terry in the business. She think that Terry runs a legitimate business. They think just based on how much they follow them that they can see that Terry is just a driver. So she thinks like, maybe Terry ain't in the business. Maybe he is just a driver. So maybe we should fall back with following him. So in the next scene, you see Terry basically telling Denise like, look, I need you to make a drive for me, basically towards Michigan State. He was like, you don't have to do shit. You literally just take the car up there, drop the keys in the car. You go find yourself something to eat. 3 hours max, you can be on the way back home. You feel me? Worst case, somebody pull you up, so you take your son a care package at Michigan State. All to the good. Terry is using Denise because he feel like he knows for a fact that the rules are different when it comes to white people versus black people in relation to the police. So he's thinking like, all right, I send Denise. Ain't shit gonna happen to Denise because she a white girl. You feel me? And that's what he thought, at least. So honestly, like I said, Meech is making his rounds because he ends up at his other baby mother house, who was Tiana from Empire. And honestly, he only went there to fuck because literally he goes in, she looked like, she's holding the baby. He come in talking slick shit, and then eventually they just end up fucking. So like I said, he was making his rounds to make sure all his girls was good before before they bust a move. Honestly, they been having a shitty season. They already lost the drugs in Cleveland. They lost this nigga Boom Drugs. Shit is just bad. So Jen and Bride basically end up following Terry. Terry ends up picking up a fare at a retirement home. Now, Jen is under the impression, like, it ain't no way he about to move no drugs out this retirement home. So we done basically sat here and followed him all day for nothing. So when he goes in, he meets the couple that did request a ride. But as the camera swings around, you see Boom sitting there. So they devised the whole plan to basically trade off the drugs as Terry picks up his fare. So you got Terry picking up their luggage as well as the luggage that Boom gave him. So basically it looks like he's just carrying the fare's luggage. So Boom say to him, like, look, this whole shit was cute. I ain't about to keep doing all this legwork just to, just to get you the product at the end of the day, product that you need, not me. So he tells him, like, this was the best way to do it. It's, low profile. He give him the shit. He say, look, this was cute, but don't be cute with my fucking money. He like, make sure you get my shit when it's supposed to be here. So Terry ends up leaving out the retirement home, loads the car up. Jen and Bryant are still watching. So Jen says to Bryant, like, okay, so should we pat down your elders? Like, should we pull them over for a full cavity search? I mean, they are older people. So Bryant finally throws in the tab for the day. He says, like, man, fuck it, let's just go to the bar. And of course, Jen is right. Like, thank God we've been following these motherfuckers around all day. You ain't done shit. Let's just go to the bar. That's the best. Next scene, you got basically the whole BMF at the record store. And of course, they in their feelings because they got to keep taking orders from B. Mickey. And at the end of the day, they just don't fuck with him in that sense. Like, they like, look, you cool and all, but we trying to figure out how we supposed to move forward when we ain't got no fucking drugs. So Meech come up in there and everybody all hyped that Meech is alive and it's this, that, and the third. And then you got the big dude, the heavyset dude, and he basically like, don't talk about no resurrection because he like, I believe in the real God. So he said, don't sit here and compare him to that. So Meech come in. One thing about Meech is Meech got like the gift of gab. So at the end of the day, he come in and he says to them a whole bunch of nothing in relation to the drugs and what type of work they gonna actually have. So again, this is the second time where he came in with no drugs and tried to convince them to actually stick with him until he got the deal closed. They ain't buying it this time. So you got the 12th Street nigga and then the heavyset nigga that run with the 12th Street. They basically end up dipping because they just like, we ain't buying it, so we're out of here. Like, and he took the EPMD album off the wall. So in the next scene, you got like Lamar basically like somewhat depressed because of the whole shit with him not being able to perform with the bitch. And then he feels a way about the fact that Meech almost killed him, but he couldn't get it back in blood. So he ends up, asking Donnell Rawlins to help him change his bag. But in the midst of him changing his bag, he ends up telling him, like, I don't feel like myself, basically. He like, I shot this nigga Meech 3 times, and he's still strutting around like a fucking peacock, and I'm sitting up here with a fucking bag attached. Donnell Rawlins basically give him words of encouragement, like, nigga, you need to remember who you are. You are the beast, Lamar Silas. He said you need to basically take all your disadvantages and use them to your advantage to get what you want, basically take over the city. He said, nigga, get your shit back, right? We back at the shop where basically Terry keeps all the cards at, and then of course B. Mickey come. So mind you, this is right after he got the package from Boom. So they sitting there, Jen and Brian are sitting there watching, and he's saying to himself, there's no reason for B. Mickey to be here because this is a legitimate business. Fuck is B. Mickey doing here? So of course Terry let him into the garage. They close the door. He shows Terry the car that Denise is going. He shows B. Mickey the car that Denise is going to be driving on her trip. Basically, he didn't got somebody to put in secret compartments and basically like holes in the seats and all that shit, basically to ensure that Denise can get where she gotta go while also transporting the package. So eventually he ended up showing B. Mickey the keys. B. Mickey had to basically suck it up and be like, I think Meech is gonna be super excited that you did this for us because we didn't have no drugs. So he like, nigga, you just know y'all owe me. On this next scene, you got the heavyset dude from the 12th Street niggas. Basically the dude that was there when Meech had devised the whole plan for them to go after Lamar. So the heavyset dude. So basically he's coming out to carry. Y'all, you smashing. Truth be told, your food look good. He's eating. He's thriving. And basically Lamar ends up sneaking him. Like he ends up basically getting beat up by Lamar. Lamar basically takes a 2x4 out the street, wails on this man. Like, dogs this man in the street, and he basically tells him like, oh, you thought I didn't remember that you took a shot at me last year. For Meech at that. So eventually he ended up stabbing this nigga in the neck, and you already know how that goes, because that's like an artery or something. So the dude straight ripped the motherfucking 2x4 out his own neck, and he like bleeding out. So Lamar take that as his opportunity, you know, to basically empty his shit bag on him.
Eat that. You wanna fuck with me, huh? Then eat my shit, motherfucker.
So basically, in that scene, not only is the nigga dying, choking off his own blood, but now he's choking off of Lamar's shit from out the shit bag. Disgusting, seriously. But listen, Lamar's on the tear. I think at the end of the day, everybody should be watching their back because this nigga's not about to let up. He not. In the next scene, you basically got Jen and Brian still out there, but now they see Terry and Denise talking. And in their mind, they like, listen, I thought that, you know, the Flannerys or most black people don't do business with white people, so what's going on here? So then they at a crossroad because they like, do we follow Terry or do we follow Denise? You know, because they like, Terry must think we dumb. So what they end up doing is they end up following Denise. So in the next scene, you got the leader of the 12th Street dudes. He basically up in the bathroom. He getting ready. He must got him a play tonight or whatever. So he put on his cologne, getting right. So he closed the medicine cabinet and shit. And as soon as he closed the medicine cabinet, you see this nigga Lamar in the background. Not 2 seconds after that, dude, this nigga Lamar smashed this nigga head into the medicine cabinet. I'm talking about puts a full-blown down.
The fuck?
Bow, that way. Like, to the point these two get a whole scuffle in the bathroom. Like, and here's the thing. The one dude was basically getting a leg up on Lamar because, you know, he was using, you know, Lamar's injuries to his advantage. But then here's the thing. Lamar took the dirty route. Lamar went for the ball grab bow. At that point, he had him weak. So he started treating him however. So he finally got him down. Lamar straight boots this man. When I say boots, this man falls back into the toilet seat. Lamar boots this man in the face. I'm talking about all up in here. UFC style. Like, knocks him out. And shit would have been sweet. He probably would have let him go had he not kept running in the mouth. You feel me? So by the time he down on the ground, he said to Lamar, like, at the end of the day, you only mad because I look better than you. So Lamar takes this opportunity to grab the shower curtain, wrap that bitch around his head, and strangle this nigga till he die. So at the end of the day, he done killed 2 of them niggas already. And that, like I said, and that's just the beginning because it ain't no way Lamar about to let any of this shit go. So he basically let 2 niggas off his list already. He said, if I can't get Meech, I'm gonna break the crew down bit by bit. Like the Brian and Jen basically following Denise. So eventually they pulled Denise over. And they basically try and get her story, and she can't keep her story straight, basically about why she's actually going where she's going. They're searching her car, but I think that they don't even have the right to be searching her car for whatever they pulled her over for. So they illegally searched her car. And then in the car, Bryant finds the shifty glove box. And the only reason why he's familiar with the shifty glove box is because B. Mickey just had one of them shits. So for Bryant to see the glove box, he like, oh,
Let's go off to you.
What are the chances it came off the assembly line like that?
And Jen say it's not likely that it came off the assembly line. This fucked up. So they end up popping out the glove box, pulling out the line and finding the kilos. So basically Denise's ass got booked right on the side of the road. She don't even know what's going on. She's fucking up, frantic, crying, not understanding why she getting booked. So in the next scene, you got Denise calling the Flannery house from jail. Charles answered the phone and she like, Charles, can I speak to Terry? Is Terry there? So Charles confused about like why she sound like that, why she sound so frantic on the phone, why is she asking for Terry, this, that, and the third. So of course he passed the phone over to Terry. Denise like, look Terry, they found what you put up in my car, so you basically need to talk to Detective Brian and let them know that that shit not mine. So Charles overhears the conversation. He basically presses Terry like, why the fuck is Denise locked up? You ruined that lady life. And Terry like, look, I was just trying to help Meech. Fucking Charles punches a hole through the wall. Lucille comes down, tries to rescue Terry.
What did you do, Terry?
Let him go, Charles.
I was just trying to say Meech. You just ruined that woman's life and our business. What I was doing in the streets is what got us this company in the first place.
But all in all, she ends up understanding that, like, Meech never lied about who he was, but you basically pretended to be somebody that you wasn't. So at the end of the day, were you really that smart if you ended up getting Denise locked up? But I don't blame his parents for saying that because he thought he was smarter than everybody else. So Meech and Terry end up meeting up at his baby mother's house, and he basically tell him, like, I told you, nigga, not even to do this shit. I told your ass to go to Pat. And he tell Meech, like, look, I told you Pat wasn't my guy. So at the end of the day, that shit was never really gonna work. He like, Pat was your guy. So I did what I thought was the right play. He like, now we gotta fucking go on the run because you owe this nigga money. We don't have no money. We got the crew, and they looking at us crazy. So now we just gotta up and go. And Terry like, where the fuck is we gonna go? Like, we don't have nothing set up nowhere. How are we gonna do that? We don't have no drugs, no Meech end up telling him completely, like, look, we already at a disadvantage. Brian got Denise locked up. We don't have shit. He said we gotta go. So he's like, let's go to Atlanta. Because they think they got like a little bit of connections down there, whatever. So they gonna take a date, they gonna take a day trip. They gonna get out of town because they ain't got no choice. It's either that or get their asses murdered. So in the next scene, you got Terry basically busting up at Marquisha Job one more fucking time. And in that moment, he basically runs up to her and tells her, like, look, I had to come and see you before I leave. I ain't gonna front. I lost your husband fucking drugs. So I definitely got to get out of town. And she's like, what? And she like, when are you leaving? He like, right now. So she takes that as her opportunity to go ahead and shoot her shot. So they end up in the back fucking, and and I just wonder in my mind, like, when is he gonna come back for her? Because so much could happen to her in the time of them being in Atlanta and then them coming back to Detroit. Like, she could be fucking dead for that matter, considering how Boom treat her for real. And here's the thing, somebody's gonna end up telling her, one of her coworkers, the security guard, somebody gonna end up telling her, so she needs to stop what she's doing before they end bad for her. He already sent you to work with 2 black eyes and no makeup. And you really think this dude the one to play with? But we gonna see. So like I said, they have their goodbye sex. It is what it is. You see Meech, in the next scene, you see Meech and his baby mother leaving. He's saying his goodbyes to them. She telling him, like, don't you think your lifestyle is becoming just not fun anymore? She like, at what point don't you think, like, you should want to take a safer route, make sure you can be around when your kids grow up? She like, what's your plan? Like, you don't have a plan. So basically, in the Meech and Terry basically going to the Flannery house, and basically they're showing everybody they're gonna be all right when they leave. So they in there and they frantically talking to Nikki and LaWanda, and they like letting them know, giving them money, like letting them know, like, look, this is all I got, but me and Terry gonna be gone for a while, so basically y'all need to hold it down. So Charles and Lucille come busting around the corner because they just overhear the shit. So they like,
Mama, not right now. We gotta go.
You gotta go where?
Wait. Listen. I know you gave your kids everything you got, and this is all I got left. Now take this and remember what I told you. You better stick together no matter what.
y'all going, wait, y'all going this, that, and the third. What are you doing? And look, he like, look, Ma, we gotta go. Like, it's not nothing that we could talk about. So in my mind, I'm thinking like Charles about to lose his shit because Charles already feel a way about them being in the game. So for them to be running off together in the game, especially when he think Terry is the innocent one out of the two, it blew me and it surprised me at the same time. When Charles came around the corner, he said to them basically, like, with a wad of money in his hand, he basically said to them, like, I know y'all gave y'all kids everything y'all had, but this is for y'all, and the one thing y'all better do is y'all better make sure y'all stick together. I was like, damn, Charles, you had a point saying you got them basically in the car, basically driving, because that's pretty much they on the road. So as they're driving, you see Meech and Terry, they having regular casual conversation in the car, beefing about who controls the radio, shit like that, this, that, and the third. Terry basically telling him, like, nigga, we got a 10-hour drive. You might as well relax. Like, it ain't nothing to be pressed about or nothing to be, like, super antsy about. He like, you got too much energy for real. So as they driving, like, somebody ends up rear-ending them. Boom. So when that happens, they look in the rearview mirror and realize that it's basically Lamar and that goddamn Wrangler again on their back. So they basically trying to make their way to the highway, and this nigga Lamar is basically trying to fishtail them. So at the end of the day, like, you end up seeing Terry basically like weaving in and out the traffic, basically to avoid Lamar from clipping the back of their car and spinning them out. Terry's doing good, but Meech don't understand why he doing it. So he like, nigga, he trying to spin us out and flip us over. So he like, nigga, I got this. So eventually, Terry ends up weaving through traffic and get Lamar stuck. And you gotta think, like, that pissed Lamar off because Lamar, again, Meech basically got away again. So you end the episode with Lamar basically pissed off completely that Meech got away, and you got the brothers basically hitting the highway on their way to Atlanta. So I can't wait to see how it play out. Again, y'all, that was a quick review of BMF Season 2, Episode 4, Running on E. I know one thing, they better get some more gas for that car before they literally be running on E. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe. HighTimez out. I'm gonna catch y'all next video.